Welcome to Average Joe Audio Reviews, and today we'll be looking at the Moondrop Chu 2, which is an in-ear monitor with a single dynamic driver that comes housed in a zinc alloy shell. In the box, you'll be getting a nice lightweight cable that doesn't have a lot of memory to it. 3 ear tips, small, medium, large, a small carry case, which is always appreciated, as well as a couple of papers. All of this for a solid $23. The detachable cable especially is an appreciated upgrade over the original Chu's permanently attached one. Some key technical specifications include this thing comes with a 10mm dynamic driver with an impedance of 18 ohms, which means basically just about anything with a DAC can run it. A frequency response of 15 Hz to 38 Hz with an effective frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which is fairly standard, along with having it this time around a 2-pin 0.78mm connector. Now, to dive into fit and feel, the nozzles these are slightly thicker than the original Chu's, most likely due to the new replaceable filters, and they measure about 5.95mm at their widest spot. These still do feel great in the ear though, with the housing being relatively small and having an unobtrusive feel. In short, I could listen to these for hours with no real problems or soreness of any kind. Now, for those of you familiar with the original Moondrop Chu, this is a sequel to that I am in name only. The original Chu had an extremely flat signature and a tuned up treble that gave the I am a brighter leaning sound. This made it extremely unique due to it being at the time one of the only IMs at the $20-ish price range to have done a fairly well done flat signature. The Chu 2 takes that philosophy and throws out the window in favor of a V-shaped tune, meaning that they cranked the bass up quite significantly and kept the treble where it was for the most part, leading to a much more V-shaped sound. This helps contribute to a sound that is a whole lot more fun and full sounding. This doesn't mean that the bass by any means is muddy or loose. In fact, songs that do have a lot of sub bass and just more general bass thrive on this set. It's quite tight and punchy without feeling super overdone. I mean, listening to songs like Blinding Lights and other more pop music, they do pretty well on this set. The treble on the set is also fairly well done for how much of there is. It can leave some tracks a little metallic or unnatural sounding, but for the most part, these do a great job of capturing and presenting all the detail and sparkle of the upper frequencies. The mids and or vocals here on the set do come last in the presentation of this set. Female vocals in particular can feel distant. They're not by any means bad, they're just a little suppressed by the elevated treble and bass the set presents. After all, this is a $20 set, so you can't expect everything. Also, soundstage here as a side note is alright and allows for fairly good separation of instruments and vocalists on most tracks, really. For more visual representation of the sound, here's how the set graphs. For reference, these are being measured against the IEF Preference 2025 target, which is what Critical considers a neutral sound target, but opinions can also vary from person to person, but I do tend to believe him because he is quite reputable in the space. And as you can see, the sub bass and bass, particularly in the 100 to 250 Hz range, has quite a boost, explaining why the set has a more bass heavy presentation. The drop off in the 350 to 1000 Hz range also explains why the vocals can sound like they are taking a back seat in most music. The treble boost throughout the rest of the tuning is to be expected, with only one oddity in the 12 Hz range, where there's quite a large spike, which depending on how sensitive the treble you can be, can have the sound fatiguing or sharp. Personally, I didn't find it an issue, but I can see why some people might have a problem with this. And now to show you a graph comparing this to the original Chu and a similarly priced product called a 7 Hz Sound Notes X Crinkle 02, which I have also tested out a little bit. That, funny enough, the tuning here is much more in line with the 7 Hz Crinkle 02 than it is actually with the original Chu's, with there being two huge differences, with the huge sub bass boost from the Chu 1 to the Chu 2, as well as the toned back treble in the Chu 2 as well. And this is what I was talking about when I was talking about a more bright lean signature, because it seemed, with the Chu, it was a very sparkly, very technical sounding piece of IMs, which made it very unique. And sometimes though, having a lack of sub bass and bass in general can lead to it feeling like a less full, and the Chu definitely can sound a bit harsh at times just due to the fact that it's so treble focused. And I feel like the Chu 2 does a great job of kind of reeling it back in. But admittedly though, it has, as you can see here, lost some of its individuality because of the fact that it's kind of more in line with other similarly priced IEMs at this $20-ish price range. So would I personally recommend this set? For just about 20 bucks, it's really hard to go wrong here. Even though its tune goes away from what made the original Moondrop Chu unique and favor a more conventional V-shaped sound, it still shines and feels like an upgrade thanks to the improved cable and bass presentation. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave any comments on things I missed or misrepresented in this review. Bye-bye.